Let's have everybody stand up, guys. Get out of those seats. Thank you, Dan. Stand up, high five the person next to you, shake their hand, say good morning, great morning, extraordinary morning. Attitude is free, you guys. Let's go. Keep moving around those tables. Move those legs a little bit. You're going to be sitting all day long. Let's get up. Let's get moving. Let's high five. Yes. Good morning. All right, so before you sit down, just take a look around the room. Energy is contagious. Does anybody agree? Oh, yeah. Yes. Awesome. You're going to hear me talk about a lot of personal development infused with what Atlas stands for. And so that's humanizing the brand and connecting not only with the mission, but ultimately your place in this experience called life and the mission that you're on here at work, as well as in your lives at home. So can we get a round of applause for all of you guys for showing up today? Awesome. So life is a participation sport. And like Dan said, I'm not going to pick on anybody, but I'm going to call on a lot of people to share, to engage, and to be part of this process for about the next 45 to 55 minutes. And hopefully, by the end of it, you will set the standard for how you want to show up the rest of the day and the rest of these next few days until this is done and you go back to your centers to take this information and knowledge and not only apply it, but teach it. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is come up with a word. This is a word that you're feeling right now. This is a word that you showed up with. This is a word that you arrived with. When you woke up this morning and you started getting dressed and you started getting a little maybe nervous or uncomfortable or scared or fearful or excited, that's the word that is your driving force walking in this room. But when we're done, we will create a new word that you're going to take with you for the rest of the day. Can everybody do that? All right, great. Take 10 seconds to come up with that word that you're feeling, and I'll start with 3 shares. How are you feeling right now?
Giddy.
Okay, giddy. Yes. Okay, great. Great start.
Happy.
Happy. Awesome.
Expectant.
Expectant. Okay, great. All right. Turn to the person next to you if you didn't share and share with them not just the word, but the definition of that word. We look at life through a different lens, although the information and content might be the same. How we understand it is much different. 10 seconds, turn to the person next to you. Give them that word.
My mind already.
All right, beautiful guys. Take a seat. So present, active, and engaged is the basis for my life and for my teaching, right? To be present, to be active, and to be engaged. We are in the most distracted digital time in human history. Not to mention, Jess said there's snacks in the back. So your brain is constantly going to be thinking, what else can and should I be doing except for being here right now? It's part of the human experience. And so do your best to be present, active, and engaged. Today's mission, or at least the story that we want to be able to tell, is on the board. Demonstrating our value proposition. CEOs, what does this mean to you?
It's what we bring to the table.
Great. You personally, professionally, a mix of both, what's written in the standards book, all of the above?
All the above.
Great. So before we get going, what I'd love to have all of my veterans in the room do is please come up to the front before we start today's presentation. If you served in our military, we would love for you to please come on up in front of the board. Let's keep those round of applause going while Dante gets our song up here. Something I often get to do is appreciate our military. I've learned a ton as a civilian from that community. I've coached a lot of men who have served, but also I've learned so much from them. The tactical and practical way, the systems, the standards, the structure, and ultimately a strategy for life. And so thank you again for being here, and thank you for your service. A little bit about me. Doesn't much matter. What matters more is what I'm going to teach and tell you and what we're going to discuss. Who can accurately stand up and deliver the mission at Atlas? Who thinks they might have an idea?
It's in the book. I'll read it.
Okay, there we go.
The Atlas mission is to provide exceptional care and outstanding customer service to every patient, every physician, every time.
Clear. Internally, read it to yourself. Externally, say it out loud. A lot of what I'm going to infuse today, aside from what's in the book and what the standard is how you learn, live, and lead. Learning is not just one directional, it's multidimensional. And as leaders of your facilities, you have to not only continue to acquire skills, information, and knowledge, you must be able to administer it or deliver it. Take a second, internal, turn to the person next to you, read it, and then do it once without reading it, or at least your best until you got a peek at the notes. 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, good. Repetition is the mother of all skill. You guys were given a notebook, analog. For all my old schools in the house, we're going to use analog today. Pull out your pen. This is an interactive workshop more than it is an actual keynote to deliver. And so the first thing you're going to write down is your word that you arrived with. Take 10, 15, 20 seconds to just simply define it in your words. It can be a feeling, an emotion, an action. It can be something that you didn't want to share with the group, but it's a strong feeling that you're experiencing right now. And then you're going to go just a little bit deeper, and you're going to write down the mission statement. Even though it's in your journal, write it again. When we learn something, we learn it in one speed. When we teach it, we learn it in a second speed. When we're learning and teaching at the same time, there's a 10x on the ability to comprehend that information and make it part of your toolkit. So as you're writing, I'm going to go over it. We, who?
We.
Hey, let's go. Provides what? Is it ordinary? No. Is it standard? Is it average? No, it's exceptional. What kind of exceptional? Care? Outstanding customer service. By the way, outside of Atlas, who believes that customer service is dying? Everywhere you go. Clear, so you have to be the change that you want. I don't believe in customer service. I believe in customer experience. I believe in the experience. But unfortunately, in this current state of reality, there is often a lot of people who just are doing things to get by. And so I look at this mission statement as the forefront of what Atlas is doing. It should be something that everybody on your team knows, they memorizes, they can read. For who? Not some of them, not just the ones you like, or the ones that are nice back to you. Every patient, every physician. When? Beautiful. Use your pen or pencil and underline those power words. Exceptional, outstanding, every patient, every physician, every time. All right. Are the core values in your journal? Okay. Without looking, who can read the 4 core values of Atlas? Great. If you were one of the first to say culture, what does culture mean to you? Beautiful. Next. Core value. What does teamwork mean to you? What about leadership? I know it's not a core value, but how many leaders do I have in this room? Every hand in here should be sky high, right? And so as a team member, but as a leader of that team, you have to infuse these core values into everything we do. Number 3?
Integrity.
Integrity. Right thing for who?
Every patient, every physician, every time.
You're going to see there's a lot of really good tie-ins to all of this information coming in today. And the 4th core value? Integrity culture, teamwork, respect, results. Okay, take a moment and give yourself a grade between 1 and 3. 1 being low, 3 being high, of your current leadership skills of these core values and what they mean to you. There's going to be a lot of self-awareness in this first session today, which again will set the tone for every other bit of information coming in later today. These are what I would call standards of excellence for life, infused with the core values, the mission, the vision, and of course, your scorekeeping, which we'll get to in a second as well. Okay, who can identify the core pillars? This is your global scorecard. This is the KPIs. This is the data. This is what makes or breaks any successful business. I'm looking for one person who can knock out all 4 without looking at their journal. Very good. Okay, this is the foundation in which this business runs. Culture, service, growth, and profitability. Is this in your journal already? Okay, let's write that down on a separate piece of paper, because again, what we're going to infuse is Atlas's definition of each of these, which is your global scorecard, the quantifiable, the KPIs, the facts, not the feelings attached to the work that you do. And then you're going to get a chance to also identify and define what each of these means to you on a personal level, so that you can come up with your superpower of both personal and professional growth. All right, we heard a little bit of defining culture, as the pillar was the same as the beginning, but who can stand up and define Atlas's culture by definition? Anybody know that?
Please read that out loud.
Culture measures our turnover rates. Example, we look to see how many employees voluntarily left each center as a percent of the total number of employees over a trailing 12-month period.
Where's all my math guys at, and girls? Where's the CFO in the CEO? There's someone here. There's a
Sammy's
couple
good
of
at
you
that.
here. Yeah?
Sammy's good at that.
Yeah. So what does that mean to you, Sammy? You're defining culture, but you're doing it as an actual quantifiable data point, which is going to be different. We take a second to define culture on a personal level. So how would you explain that to some of us in the room who may not know that that is the core pillar of Atlas, but it has a slightly different definition of culture?
Yeah, so essentially you're just trying to retain your employees, right? Because ultimately the GPS is hit when any FTE leaves your center, and that's on your GPS for a trailing 12 months. And numerically, it's the percentage is calculated by your numerator, how many left, over your denominator, how many FTEs do you have at the center.
Something in my world is that employees do not leave bad companies, they leave bad leaders. Which has a little hint of this in it, because it says voluntarily left each center. Obviously, there's other conditions that are applied. But take a moment, because this is truly the depth of what we're getting into today, are these 4 core pillars, and the Atlas definition, which is a need to know, as well as a personal definition.
Do you mind reading that as well?
Sure. Culture refers to the shared values, beliefs, and behaviors that shape how people within Atlas interact, make decisions, and work toward common goals. A strong culture fosters trust, collaboration, inclusion, and accountability, creating an environment where employees and team members feel connected, motivated, and aligned with the organization's mission.
Can everybody agree? Can everybody understand? Clear. We're going to move through culture. Any other shares that anybody would like to add to culture, both personal or professional? Yes. I hate to use the analogy, but sometimes you have to cut the cancer out. And sometimes that one person can cause an entire team and an entire organization to not operate at the same speed. And although culture is collective, it starts with you. Great. Service. Who can knock out Atlas's definition in the core pillars of service?
Or from patient and physician's
do culture and service blend into each other? Would you believe that your scores that are coming from both the patient and the physician come from what it feels like when they walk in the door? Great, let's add to that. Would you also mind reading the service statement?
Service is defined by putting the needs of customers, colleagues, and the community at the forefront of all decisions. It's about delivering exceptional experience, solving problems with care and empathy, and going beyond expectations. Service-oriented organizations build lasting relationships by listening, actively acting with urgency, and consistently creating value.
Great. See the correlation and the blend between the two? I also call this humanizing the brand, humanizing your business, humanizing your role in the organization so that you can, and I like to shorten this word, for me, it's serve. How can I best serve? Period. And so this second pillar is extremely important because again, when we get to those quantifiable global data points, you have a scorecard for a reason. It's to improve your numbers. Growth. Who's got this one? Would you mind reading that one out loud as well?
Growth represents both.
That's a big one right here. Again, going back to that statement about people not leaving organizations, but leaving leaders, right? Loyalty is created with learning. And so, beautiful. How many of you have read the book by Carol Dweck, Growth Mindset or Mindset? Great. Put that into your notes. I'll give you a few tips and tools before the end of today. Reading, obviously. Reading, writing, and speaking are the core foundations of communication. In order to become a better and more effective leader, you have to become a better and more effective communicator. Reading, writing, and speaking will help you do that. Outside of the matrix or the machine or the digital side of our lives that takes up 99.99% of our life. Next pillar. Profitability. Is this important in business? So I wouldn't be here today if the company was not profitable. Most of the additional amenities and services and gifts that are given to you, both personally and professionally, have to do with this marker, profitability, period. That's what business is all about. All right, who would like to read this one?
Thank you.
How many of your centers, raise your hand if you have cleared this bucket, if you are in the upper 75th percent. Raise them high, raise them high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep them up, keep them up. There are 42 centers, I believe. That was the last number I got. Maybe 43. So 6. I had, I believe, 7 on mine. That's 16%. Can we do better?
Yes.
Yeah. Aside from Dan saying that out loud in the back, right? Can you get better? Yes. Okay, great. Turn to the person next to you and tell them, I will get better. That is a personal commitment statement. And in doing so, our centers will get better. And in doing so, we will become more profitable. Okay, I love this one because it adds to, obviously, what the book says. And we got to know both. Profitability is the organization and leadership's ability to generate sustainable financial returns that fuel the mission. What was the first slide up there? The mission. There is no person or center bigger than the mission. The mission always comes first. It reflects efficiency, sound decision making, and value creation. Profitability isn't just about revenue. It is here. It's about using resources wisely so the organization can reinvest in its people, customers, and communities. All right, turn to a new page, and I want you to write down, if you haven't already, the 4 pillars, and give yourself a personal and professional score, meaning for your centers, maybe you know your numbers for your global scorecard. This is the metrics, this is the data, this is your KPIs, this is what the entire functionality of this organization globally is doing to get better, to improve. And then you have your own, how you run and operate your own life. Do I have any parents in the room? Raise your hand up high, right? You're the CEO of your family. And your significant other plays a major role in that, but that's the type of leadership we have to think about. What are the things that I'm doing in my personal life, in my family, in my home, outside when I'm not at work, and how well am I doing in my culture, my service, my growth, and my profitability? 2 scores, and let's go a little bit bigger on this scale. Let's go 1 to 10 on your personal score, personal scorecard level. Especially those who are up above that 75 percentile, share with the person next to you, as well as your personal high and your low. 3, 2, 1, and go. We'll go 60-second shares on both sides. In this personal and professional assessment, in your life scorecard as well as the Global Atlas scorecard, you have a high and a low, what you're great at and what you are weak at. I want you to identify your weakest link and your greatest strength in both the personal and professional scorecard. And the one thing that you can do right now that doesn't take weeks or months, that you have to begin applying to your life or to the business that you can do. And I don't want you to go get on your computers or phones and start doing it right now. I want you just to simply be able to share what is that one thing. And so when I come around to you, you're going to share, this is your weakest link and your greatest strength in the Atlas, in your center. This is your weakest link and your greatest strength in your personal life. And what is the one thing that you can do today, right now, to amplify, to increase, and to create a better outcome in both of those? Great, so can we compartmentalize the good and the bad and separate it and say that it's strictly math and numbers and that we can increase those? Are there feelings attached to that? Great, so I'm giving you guys factual information that you're writing down, that you're creating in your own head. We want to keep facts from feelings, right? I'm in the feelings, I'm in the emotional, I'm in the human business. And so this is a great way for people to not let things bleed into other areas of their life, both personally and professionally. So what's the one thing you can do to improve that? All right, profitability. Who believes by a raise of hands that they are in the sales business? Okay, hands down. What about the service business? Okay, great. If you believe you're in both, put both of your hands up. Yes, okay, beautiful. That's the visual. You cannot be great at one without the other, or else you become one-dimensional. I was in the fitness industry for 15, 20 years, opened the first CrossFit gym in Scottsdale, dropped out of college after freshman year in football, and I started getting into the fitness industry and personal training and running gyms. And I was great at what I did because I knew how to sell, but I knew how to serve even more, so my sales would continue to multiply. And so you're not in either one. You don't even need to change your hat. You just need to be able to understand and address what you're good at, what you're great at, and do what you need to do to improve both of those. Let's get one more share, please. Notice the language. This is part of what I believe I influence people to, is to change their language. Chuck has a very positive group, team-oriented language. I gotta imagine, and this is just for each and every one of you, ask yourself, how often do I use poor or weak language? Write that down in your book, and any words that you may choose to use that do not empower you or the people that you're talking to, write those down. My daughter said yesterday, "It's not my job." Followed by, "It's not my fault." Ownership. You want to be a successful leader, you have to take 100% ownership. Does that mean you need to solve every problem? Absolutely not, but you need to take ownership of the problem and get the right people in place in order to solve that problem. That's truly what leadership is. It's identifying the challenge, problem, or obstacle, and then leaning in and making a decision to do whatever you can to solve it and deploy as many different people towards that problem until it's solved. There's an entire psychology behind language. Next resource, since we're discussing it. This book changed my life about 2.5, 3 years ago. What to say to yourself when you talk to yourself. The inner monologue is nasty. For every positive thought you think or feel or speak, it is followed by 9 negative ones. It's deeply rooted in our DNA as human beings. You might have, I believe one of the ladies here, her word was happy. You might have an 8-to-1 because you tend to be a little bit more positive than others, but we're all fighting that on a regular basis. You throw in the machine that has billions of people posting or spewing their feelings, their emotions, their hate, their politics, their things, and it affects how we think, feel, and speak. And so I'm constantly figuring out ways to use better and more empowering language, not just for myself internally, like this book helps you identify, but also externally. And for those of you with teenagers, just spend an hour quietly with your journal and just hear what they say and write it down. Because most of their language is negative, but they don't have the understanding or the awareness to make that shift. Each of you knows you better than anyone else, correct? Maybe your wife. But for the most part, you probably know you better than anybody else in the room. That's the goal. Yes, we're talking a lot about the pillars of what makes Atlas special and unique to improve these quantifiable global scores, to increase all of these areas of the business. But at the end of the day, this is to improve you. If you go home, if you go back to that center with an improved mindset, with a more positive outlook on life, I guarantee you that becomes then your culture. Chuck, do you have bad days?
Oh yeah,
Do you have bad moments?
absolutely.
You sometimes use poor language that doesn't help people boost their morale?
No.
Oh, see, there you go.
No one knows I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
Maybe a little text or two to my CV cohorts over there.
Okay, storytelling. These are some great shots. Who would like to stand up and share and tell a story of an experience that they've had at the center through these pillars, through their leadership, through their work, where we call it a case study, if you will, that truly proves the magic of what you guys are doing? I think this is extremely important. Right, here's 2 different ones, but it doesn't give context to the actual storytelling. So these are case studies, and reading through these, you know, if we go back to the beginning and what these pillars are and what they mean, that's truly what you're doing. You're exceptional service, empathy, care, right? What people feel walking into that building, not the medical providers or the physicians, but the patients, we know what that feels like. That can be scary, traumatic. That can, release some dopamine in them that they haven't experienced in a long time that multiplies fear. And comfort is one of those things that truly is another pillar of empathy. How do you make somebody feel comfortable? You focus on them. That's one simple way. You guys are so busy, there's a million things going on, but when you see that patient, or physician for that matter, who might be struggling or uncomfortable or not look, the greatest thing you can do is stop what you're doing and take that moment to show that you care. And to me, both of these case studies show that, right? We know that this is in all of us. We have inherited the history of mankind. And when I was told that by a coach, it kind of made me realize, wow, all this anxiety and stress and pressure that I've felt my entire life, that I wake up with every morning, including this morning, that's part of being human. Wow, what's my process? Ask yourself that question, write it in your journal. Not to combat PTSD. What is my process? And if you don't have a process for anything, you need to create one. You need to develop one. right? So much of what we've talked about so far, just going back to the very beginning, is Atlas's process. You are a piece and a part of that process. But like Chuck, you need to have your own personal process. Okay. This comes from clients of mine who walked into my gym about 15 years ago, CrossFit Scottsdale, and he pretty much said, hey, I want to compete in CrossFit, like 5'8", 225 pounds, shoulders, back, biceps. Come to find out, as I built a relationship with him, that he was a running back behind Eli Manning at Ole Miss. His name was Ron Goldie McClendon. His coach called him Goldie because he had a gold grill when he was in college. And his story creates passion in me because comfort is often the enemy. And so when we're having a bad day or we're dealing with something, the worst thing we can do is focus on ourselves and our problem. Again, using that word service. And so Goldie, his story, it affects me all the time when I think about my problems. His mom had him at 13 years of age in Louisiana. His grandma was 28 years old. His great-grandma was 45. Fifth Ward, Louisiana, hood, streets. Most of the people he grew up with were shot and killed or they were in gang violence. He was what they call a blue chip football player. And one by one, from his high school coach to his collegiate coach to some of the mentors in his life, he began to change the direction and course of his life. This is his mantra. This is his entire mindset. And so I only have one sort of storytelling slide up here for today, and this was the one. Because something as simple as this that you see when you wake up in the morning, when you're getting dressed, when you're getting ready and prepared for the battle that exists in business, attitude is free. And so Goldie went on to win a Grey Cup in Canada. He played for the Titans for a couple years. Again, him walking into our gym about 15 years ago, I started to learn a lot more about him. I started to understand his story. I didn't grow up like that. My challenges are different, as are every one of yours. But someone like that can inspire you to change your attitude. Why? Because it's free. Is it expensive? Is it hard? Absolutely. But what are the little things that you do to put yourself into a position of power each and every single day? Write that down as your next question. What do I do to put myself into a position of power? Power being healthy, power being a little bit of intensity, a little bit of energy, right? Think about it like your cell phone. You wake up in the morning, it's been plugged in all night, your power levels are through the roof, and sometime at 3:30 in the afternoon, it starts to dwindle down. And so what do you got to do? You got to plug it back in. You have to change your state, and oftentimes change it constantly. Who has the best attitude in the room?
Jacob Hyatt.
Oh, I heard a couple. We know Chuck's in the top 3. Yeah. Nicole? Jacob? Okay. This one might get a little uncomfortable. Who has the worst attitude?
Chuck.
See? A true leader throws himself under the bus. No, we won't do that. But this is to check it in yourself, right? Again, nobody knows you better than you. I often think about this a lot with teenagers, right? How am I showing up? So I have a personal mission and mantra statement, and I recommend everybody does this for themselves. This is your driving force. I am the man, husband, father, leader, and coach I always wanted in my own life. Grew up without a father, no positive male role model, didn't have guidance. And so as I became a man, and then I became a coach, and then I became a father, I had to understand what I needed. I needed a personal driving force in me, as we all do. Maybe it's attitude is free. If you don't have one, put a small placeholder in your journal or your book to come up with one, to create one, to identify your own mission statement. Right, we know the numbers in some of these cases, both personal and professional, are not where you want them to be. Change it. You can change it. You can change absolutely everything about your entire life. You have to make the choice and the decision, and then you have to do the second thing, which is the most important thing, which is take action. Period. All this is information. And at a certain point, I didn't put this slide up, but information you are hearing, or you are studying, or you are reading, or you are learning has about a 5 to 15 to 25% rate in which you keep it as yours. If you begin to teach it, it magnifies to 50 if you're learning and teaching at the same time. So these resources that I'm giving you, I say buy all of them. Amazon doesn't tell me how much money I've spent on books in the past 5 years, but I didn't read a book for 30 years, and now I read about 2 to 3 books a month. Okay, I never let school interfere with my education. How many of you have a college degree? Raise your hand. Get them up high. Great. I think 96% of everybody in the room. Does that mean we should stop learning? Okay. Is anybody an active reader? Beautiful. Great. So let's add 2 more resources into it. I think you got this one. Jess? No? Okay. 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. This is a great one. I buy this one a lot to help young men that I mentor become a little bit stronger and mentally tougher. 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. And then, without throwing yourself under the bus, who here has a hard time staying focused and their productivity tends to bleed? So what they thought they could get done in 20 minutes takes 2 hours, and there's a gopher running across the floor, and the next thing you know, they're walking around. Your hand went up quickly. Okay, so this is a productivity planner. This is the same organization that created the 5-minute journal, which is a gratitude journal. And they made it more of a professional development one. So every day it outlines by your hands what you're grateful for, what your intention is, and then your top and most important priority. You cannot do everything at once. You can only do one thing at a time. And so if you are somebody who tends to get distracted, identify that in yourself and change it. It is not power, right? We know this from looking around. You know, most of the people in this room are within my age, right? Time is finite. It's the most valuable resource that we have. We are the ones that tend to waste the most time doing things that do not serve us or our mission. All right, great. Here we go. Let's close out. Stand up with pride, with energy, and with attitude. How do you demonstrate our value proposition, and what do you stand for? I'm going to take 3. And if you haven't shared yet, please stand up.
We were physically standing up.
Yes, no, that's it. I do. Yeah. Yeah. But with the language, right? You're in it now. You guys got to stand up, both of you. Great. So how do you demonstrate the value proposition, which goes back to the very beginning? And what do you stand for?
Like personally, or, well, if it's personal, it's my family. Like, God and family is top for me, so that's what I stand for.
Beautiful. And how do you demonstrate this value proposition? Because the last thing we're going to do is go back to our center and print out 27 copies like my slideshow and hand it to every employee, and then when we get a physician in the hallway, tell them. It's not going to happen like that. It has to be natural, and it has to be authentic.
I think I'm present. I'm present for my family. I'm available to my family. I put my trust in God, so I just think being present is huge for me.
Awesome. Round of applause. Thank you. Okay, so a little bit about me here. I am a men's peak performance life coach. I'm a keynote speaker, hopefully an inspirational keynote speaker, and I created a movement called Fathers of the Future that empowers men and young men to take on the most important leadership role they'll ever have in their life, which is to be a father. And so feel free to snap one of these three. You're not done yet. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to stand up, stretch out those legs. You're going to find somebody not at your table, and you're going to share with them the key takeaway from this first session. Questions, comments, concerns, anything? Jesse, thank you for your servant leadership and for bringing me in to speak to this group today. You guys are going to have an amazing rest of the day because you're amplified, you're empowered, and you've got the right attitude for the job. So here we go. Stand up, find somebody new. A minute each to share the key takeaway. Get some music going by Diego. Thank you guys so much.